Well, I sort of showed up at Friends in Faith as that kid who desperately needed a place. And so I would come to everything. And I would come to try to figure out if there were friends for me. I think you'll remember me. I always wondered if Kathy and at that time Eric Steen remembered me as the kid that maybe if I didn't come that week, that would be okay, because there was a little bit of intensity to me. And there were a lot of questions. But there were so many moments where we stopped and had those conversations. And you and I will talk about these on a regular basis, where I wondered what it meant to know about Jesus in my life. And I wasn't sure what that looked like. And so I would sit down in what was my favorite seat on the bus, which was the seat right next to Kathy, right in the front, sort of out of the fray of all of the chaos of those high schoolers. And I wanted to be there with the adults having those conversations. And we'd sit and we'd talk about college, and we'd talk about life, and we'd talk about what dreams look like. And you would tell me that there was more than I saw. And I think what we see in this room are people who you've told over and over again, Kathy, that there's more than we see, that you saw the dreams, that you saw the opportunities beyond what we could have expected. And so I'm so thankful for that. And I'm so thankful for the ways that you cast vision for me and for so many other young people, and maybe not quite as young people anymore in this room, who have been a part of this ministry for the last 30 years. So thank you so much for that. Let's all thank Kathy.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks for coming all the way up and being with us today. We're really thankful to have you with us. We also have journeying north along with, we should probably acknowledge Ann Svenningson's here. I'm not sure everyone got to see our bishop in Minneapolis, Bishop Ann, but former pastor here, Ann Svenningson. Thanks, Ann, for coming. One of her staff members and former Trinity pastor, John Holden, was with us today. For those of you that worshiped, you got to see John preach again and do one of the things that he's so good at, children's sermons. No, seriously, that's hard. I think it's really hard. It looks really hard. I haven't ever done one. It looks hard. And John makes it look easy. And one of the ushers turned to me this morning and said he was really thankful for John's children's sermons because it always seemed to help him understand the actual sermon better. Yes, you do. So when John was here, as many of you will know, John was an integral member of the youth team and all on mini houseboat and youth gathering trips. Now a member of Bishop Ann's staff down in Minneapolis area Synod. John, welcome. We're glad you're here.
Oh, my goodness. Thanks for showing up for Kathy. I can't even begin to list all the things I learned because of Kathy Hunstad. I mean, she introduced me to this youth team, you know, and Bob Larson told me on the first trip to a hotel, he said, John, take a towel and put it in your suitcase, because when you stay with a bunch of boys, there will never be a towel when you take a shower. I mean, how can you survive without good information like that? And Kathy enabled these leaders to make that happen. There's other stories I'm not going to go on, Bob. And Pastor Beckeris said it well. There was always a place. There was always a place. And where there wasn't a place was in my dresser drawer, because I got so many dang T-shirts working for the youth that I only have 3 for you from the Minneapolis area Synod. Take them out and show it. You go ahead. Because we only, you know, I'm not in the youth scene as much on the ground. And so, you know, I thought I got to pay you back a little bit on some T-shirts, because my dresser, I can't close it because of my 16 years at Trinity Lutheran. So, and the next one was our Synod Assembly theme, I think, which, there you go. So, but what I really need to say is, from a dad, 4 kids were in your program. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you, John. Thank you, John, for coming. Thank you for your service here when you were here on our ministry staff. Well, for the rebuttal, at this time, I'd like to call Bob Larson up. By the way, the towel tip is for real. I got that same tip when I started helping with youth trips, and that's the first thing. You go into the hotel room, grab a towel, and hide it. Bob has been the chair of our youth ministry team for about 1,000 years, and Bob, along with the other team members, some of whom you'll see with the polo shirts on, others are incognito. If you are currently or have been on the youth ministry team, raise your hand for a moment. There's a bunch in the back, along the sides, in the far overflow over there, over here. I think it would be, I'm on this team too, so this is a little bit of patting myself on the back, I suppose, but it would be wrong not to acknowledge the work that this team does in preparing this food and being with the youth and serving as mentors for the youth. So let's thank the team, if you don't mind. Many of these team members have continued to serve, like Bob and Craig and Tim, long after, right there, those three guys right there, and others, long after their own children have progressed out of the program, which says a lot about the program that Kathy built and the other adults' commitment to the work. So let's invite Bob up, and Bob's got a few words, and you have a shot at John, too.
With John will all be love. My name is Bob Larson, as Eric said. I have to bring notes along because I'm not a professional like those I was just following. My first incident with Kathy, not incident, I guess. We're slightly younger there, at least I am. Kathy, we still have problems with. When people look at the pictures back there, they go, "Where's Kathy?" She's this one. Oh, I thought she was one of the kids. I've never had that issue. But anyway, the first, I guess it's my microphone, so I get to tell my story. My first incident or first trip with Kathy was a houseboat trip. If you want to, it's the pictures over on the far left on the bottom. That was a long time ago. But anyway, I was on the youth committee, I was on the church council, and she came up to me and asked me about going on this houseboat trip, which I had no idea. She sold it as lots of great swimming, campfire, singing, fishing. It'll be fun. You'll enjoy it. And I said, okay, well, I had a complicated schedule that I had to arrange to get off. So I thought about it, talked to my wife and family, and they thought it was okay. Went and got the time off, arranged the time off, and I said, hey, I got the time off, I can do the trip. And she says, great. Hey, do you know, by the way, you're going to help lead Bible study? I go, what? So we had to lead Bible study together. I said, the only way I'll do it is if you're with me, because I had no clue. So we're in this Bible study, and our Bible study was on the 10 Commandments. And we're talking about stealing. And she talked about what it was like to be a victim of theft. And she goes, a month ago, we inadvertently left our garage door open, and we lost a bicycle and David's water ski. He had saved for this water ski. He wanted this water ski. He was really happy about getting it, and it was gone. And I looked at her and I said, I know where that water ski is at. A month before, I had stopped an individual at 24th Avenue and A Street and removed a water ski from his presence because it didn't seem at 2 a.m. that there was any water skiing to be done. So, oh yeah, there's other stories out of that Bible study, but we won't talk about. Yeah. But anyway, Eric did it for me. The youth ministry team is a unique group of individuals. Kathy has 2 rules for us. You have to love kids and you have to work hard. And we do both of that, and there's just a class group of individuals. My closest and best friends are probably out of the youth ministry team or people that I've met through this time at church. It's amazing what my affiliation with Friends in Faith has done to me. I go on houseboat trips now, not so much because I need to or I feel like I'm needed. It's because I need to go. I need that trip. It helps me get myself right with the world. But anyway, I wrote down a few things that I can say. This is the serious part about our time with Kathy. We've witnessed Kathy giving her all in supporting our congregation, members, and friends in their darkest time. Losing a family member, battling addiction, depression, having less than an ideal family situation, problems in school, and a host of others. I've witnessed Kathy, and I will say this again and again, I have witnessed Kathy saving and changing lives by her willingness to take the time to make each of us feel that her entire focus was on our problems and that she genuinely cared about us. We have witnessed Kathy share the joy and success of our youth have had in life, from graduating from high school to in college to starting their own families and becoming successful in their careers. We have witnessed many wonderful, meaningful experiences in the trips we have taken, from the summer mission trip, national and synod youth gatherings, ski trips, and my favorite houseboat. To watch the youth begin the trip unsure and reluctant to share in small groups or sing at campfire, to develop into such a close, open, fun group of people. Kathy and David, and I do have to mention David because he was part of the team, he's always been part of the team, have taught me that I can have a tremendous amount of fun while still serving and worshiping God in the beautiful Rainy Lake area and anywhere. We have been a witness to thousands of people being impacted by Kathy's faith and devotion to her ministry. We wonder how many times has one of our youth had an impact on a friend, family member, or a complete stranger by modeling the caring and sharing that Kathy has taught us. How many of us can remember using something that we have learned from Kathy in our encounters with others? Speaking from the youth ministry team, it has been our privilege to be witness to this remarkable ministry. We all have our own special stories about Kathy. She has made us feel special and loved. Kathy, thank you for these 30 years. God bless you in your new path in ministry. We are so grateful for the impact you've had and will continue to have on our lives. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. One of the keys clearly to a successful youth ministry team is to have an adult leader who's a cop. Just saying. At this time, we have a special musical treat. Brent Gerber has a veteran youth trip leader and CLC worship team member as well. Brent has created a musical song that we can join together in, Brent? To commemorate Kathy's ministry. And I'll invite the only person who likes a microphone better than me.
You know, Eric Johnson and I, we just reminisced about this. We share a really, really important value related to a sense of humor. Both of us know that we're funny. So if anybody else laughs, it's just a bonus, really. So yeah, you know, a lot of bad memories from days gone by in Trinity are coming back. John Halden, myself, you know. One of the great joys I had when I left Trinity was that I knew I would never have to write another one of these farewell songs which is you have to do a lot of them when you have like this young pastors program where every 2 years there's pastors going away. We were writing songs like they were going out of style. But I was coerced. This just shows the great impact Kathy Hunstad has had on me and my family, that I am willing to come back again and share with you yet another of these songs, although it is not, I want to be very clear, it's not a farewell song. You know, the one thing when you do these songs, a lot of times there's some inside humor to it. So I want to educate you just a little bit about a couple of things here. So does everybody know what stock calling is? Right? How many of you have done stock calling? Yeah. And how many of you loved stock calling? Yeah. That was Kathy's brainchild, stock calling. How many of you have been to a meal here at Trinity? Yes? Well, there's nobody knows the inside of that kitchen as much as Kathy Hunstad does, with the possible exception of David Hunstad. And then there's something that you all should really experience once in your life, and it's called bus games. Right? So how many of you have played bus games? And how many of you loved bus games? As Kathy said, it's all about the relationships. Forget how much you hate it. So many of you have been on houseboat trips, right? And the bathroom accommodations are quite interesting there. Well, that will be referred to in this song. I don't want to shock you, okay? Finally, the one other inside joke I wanted to share with you is that I have to say that I've been somewhat appalled as an adult leader at youth gatherings trips. It wasn't Kathy, but one of our staff members taught our kids how to budge into the front of the line and get down to the first part of, way in the front, and that was our beloved former pastor, John Holden. And so that is also referred to in this song. So the words, Ashley, do you have something for me up there? Okay, so this is a camp song, The Rock, right? You all know that. Many of you know that. So please join us in singing and Rachel in playing here as we sing this song. Got to follow the lyrics. You won't know those, all right? Well, feel free to echo if you like. I got all I can do to handle the first time through. All right. Calling members on the phone, selling stock in Trinity. This is hard for kids and their sanity. The Lord liveth. Going party in the woods, freaks out on the houseboat games. Kathy makes it sound like a luxury. The Lord liveth, and Kathy is a rocket. When we start calling or me planning or bus games. The Lord liveth, and Kathy is a rocket. Okay, now, keep going. You just vamp for me a little, would you, Rachel? Okay, so now this last time, when we repeat that meal planning or bus games, let's say, let us all give thanks for all that Kathy has taught us, okay? I'll try to clue you in. It's the second time only, flying on the fly. Are you ready? 2, here we go. Sweating and gathering. Holding, budging in the Kathy's got us singing and the Lord liveth, and Kathy is a rock, and when we start calling or meal planning or bus games, the Lord liveth, and Kathy is a rock.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Brent. Thank you, everyone, for singing so well. All right, at this time, I'd like to call on Ashley. So growing up in Fargo at Olivet and attending Concordia College, joining our staff after her time as a cobber, Ashley is now well into her own 30-year run of youth ministry. Let me invite Associate Youth Director Ashley Strela to say a few words. Ashley! Yeah!
All right. I took notes as well, just because otherwise I'd ramble and that wouldn't be fun. All right. So when I think of Kathy, there are so many different things I think about, and my top 3 things are being faithful and sharing faith, being caring, and being focused on relationships. So I know that not just for me, but for every single one of us, there's been a time in our lives that Kathy has shared her faith with us and let us in, but also more importantly, given us the opportunity to share our faith as well. Whether it's through confirmation or trips, but Kathy has been able to help all the youth here be more comfortable talking about faith and having that time. Being caring. I'm sure that at some point, every single person in this room has been on the receiving end of Kathy just being there for you. And I know that's especially true for me because like a couple years ago, my mom was in the hospital, and thankfully, Kathy, not being good with silence, came, and she was there, and she talked me through it and was just present. And that is something that Kathy is very good at, and I'm very thankful for. And being good at relationships. Relationships is probably the #1 thing for Friends in Faith. Everybody, hopefully, is connected to 5 adults. That's our main thing. And I'm pretty sure, just looking around the room, everyone can say that, and that is because of Kathy and the time that she put into the youth ministry team and to youth ministry here at Trinity. So whether it's been here and even at Concordia, that is something that she taught heavily in our classes, and she was one of my professors there too. And there are others in this room that were able to take those classes and be a part of that. And I just want to thank you for that and modeling that for everyone here. So thank you.
Well, I'm going to ask Kathy to gather herself for a second. Well, you can, yeah. Well, let me come and stand by you. Okay. Yeah? No? So this morning I was thinking about this moment, this introductory moment, and there's this musical called Rent. You might have heard of it, right? And in Rent, there's a song called Seasons of Love, and that line about 525,600 minutes, right? You can't even think about it without hearing the tune in your head, right? 525,600 minutes, right? How do you measure a year, right? And the whole song is about minutes of time that add up to this year. And there are some lines in it, and they go in daylights, in sunset, in midnights, in cups of coffee, in inches, in miles, in laughter, in strife. In 525,600 minutes, how do you measure 30 years of a life? So I did the math, and I used a calculator because I'm not Mark Jensen, and I'm not like a science guy who can play trumpet and sing and all the other things. All right, I hate you, Mark Jensen. Kathy, if you do the math year by year, Kathy served Trinity for 15,768,000 minutes. And affected the lives of hundreds of high school students and thousands of lives that they've touched in their own lives of faith. And she did it minute by minute. She did it in the ways that you've heard described, in cups of coffee, in sunsets, in houseboat, in morning worship, in moments of sitting with people when they're in need. Minute by minute. So today, Kathy's first youth group members are nearing their 50th birthdays. I'm sorry to say that out loud, because holy cow. But it's true, right? So imagine if you can count up those minutes and then think for a moment about a room full of Kathy's kids, hundreds of them aged anywhere from 16, 17, or 18 from our current group to as much as 48, 49 years old. Hundreds, a whole generation, living lives of faith and impacting the world around them, all impacted by Kathy's leadership. And you can add in the adults that have served with Kathy. You can add in all the people here that have supported our youth by buying stock and intersecting with the lives of our youth for that generation, for those 15 million minutes. Thanks be to God, Kathy.
I might need a little help. Just in case. I'm sure you're terrified. I have a box of Kleenex and a microphone. And I know how to use it. And I don't have notes. That's even more terrifying. I'm a perfectionist, so I know that I'll leave today and know that I didn't say something I wanted to say, and I'll be hard on myself. But I'm going to try. I'm going to cry, so let's just accept it. I hope you can understand me. Crying while you talk is like a foreign language, isn't it? Like, it's really hard to understand. I often say to people, there was a time when I was experiencing severe anxiety, and I had to really learn how to practice what I preach, and it's called living in the moment. And I've been terrified and grateful for today. So I'm trying to live in this moment, and I'm looking at all of you, and I know that I haven't gotten to each table to say thank you, and you mean the world. It's uncomfortable to be the center of attention. It's easier for me to say, oh, who are you? I don't know you, or you should meet so-and-so, right? I love that. But first of all, I will say thank you to God. It's all God's fault that I'm here. And then in order, you can probably blame Chris Bjorky and Rick Foss and David Hunstad. And but I know that I came kicking and screaming, but I knew I had a clear message from God that Trinity was a place I was supposed to go. And then I thought I was smarter than God, and I thought I would be here 3 months. 3 years, sorry, not 3 months, 3 years, and I would be out of here. It was hard. But God had different plans. And every time a door opened somewhere else that maybe we could walk through to leave, somehow the timing, the door closed. And sometimes when we went after a door to try to walk through, to walk out, the door closed. And eventually, I quit messing with God. And I just said, for however long, please don't let them run me out of the church. And so I thank God for this call that is clear and gray all at the same time. But it's clear to love God, love teens, and to see the best in everybody. And I look out at all of you, and the best is in you. And you have shared that. God's given you great gifts, and you've shared that so well. I want to thank all the teenagers, all the youth, and you'll have to pass this on to people. Teenagers are amazing. I think that's something God showed me a long time ago. I thought I was supposed to be a third grade teacher for life, and then God gave me this job with teens, and I know I'm using this God language like God did it all, and some days I wonder, does God have a plan for our life? And then I look back and I think I got forced into a job with teenagers teaching in Monaga, Minnesota, that opened my eyes and my heart. And it has been, and it is the greatest privilege to work with teenagers. It's also, I want to thank all the adult leaders over the years, and there are literally hundreds of people that I thank them for believing the lines I gave them, evidently, leading them to believe they were entering into something glorious and fabulous, and surviving and thriving amidst challenging work in youth ministry. But really, there are no adequate words to say thank you for the adults who have given their hearts and souls, not only to just being adults on the trips. It's exhausting and exhilarating all at the same time. And so I thank you for believing in yourself, believing in God and teens, and partnering. I want to thank the youth ministry team. It is a huge team of people. We add people every year. Some people move away, get different jobs, so it continually changes. But they have given their heart and soul, and as you've seen, some of them, their kids weren't even old enough to be in youth ministry, and now their kids have grandchildren that would be almost old enough to be in youth ministry. And I think that's part of it is I've watched people become best friends with people they never met before they came on a team. And honestly, life work is hard, and so they've had each other's backs through the joys of life and the challenges of life. I want to thank the pastors and the rest of the staff for always being supportive, but not just of me, but being a team together, that we're all working in ministry, all of us, but also inviting the congregation in. I want to thank Ashley Strelo so much. Ashley has been here 8 years and some months. And Ashley is a beautiful soul who has really found her way and is sharing her gifts in incredible ways. And she is going to lead this youth ministry in beautiful ways in the years to come. And I am so grateful to work with a colleague who is the epitome of grace, the epitome of grace. And we bring out the best in each other, and we've had to work through some hard stuff, not with each other, but in our work together, right? And so I'm so grateful for that. I am incredibly grateful to my family. So would you just stand? Somebody said, we want to see who your family is. So every single one of you at these 2 tables. Yeah. So, our family photographer, one of a few. You can sit down. I'll just start with my own kids. My kids benefited and sacrificed for me to have the job that I have. I think they know I love them the most, but I had to love a lot of people's kids. It's so hard not to cry about this, and I'm so sorry it's ugly. But I have loved all of the youth, your children, almost as much as my own, and almost as much as you love your kids, because I have had to protect them. I have sat in emergency rooms with kids with broken necks, with dislocated shoulders, with cuts so deep that my butterfly bandage will work, but not if they want to go swimming. I have listened to kids who have gotten themselves into some pretty big trouble. I've listened to a lot of things, right? And I have loved your kids and tried to help them be the best they can be, but I've also seen the best in them, and I have worked very hard to not humiliate them, and I know I've let people down. I mean, that's the most hard thing about this work is, and maybe everybody's work is, we all let somebody down. Like, don't put me on a pedestal, because no, I'm not that person. I'm a saint and sinner like everyone else. But for my family, they were grace, and they shared me, and it was hard. It was really hard on them sometimes. But when I would say, that's fine, I can quit this job, I will find another job because your heart and souls are more important than mine. And they would say, but you can't. You can't quit this job because we are really proud of you, and we can share you. So I thank you for sharing me. And to niece and nephew and great nieces and sister-in-law and sister, all of you who are here, and Chad, every one of you, and my granddaughters that are here. It's really fun that you're here to share this very special day. 30 years when I came here, some of you will know this, Marie Wenner had been here 20 years when I came, and Pastor Marv Whitty had been here 23 years. And I remember sitting at the staff meeting going, wow, if I make it to 3, that's going to be something. And then when organist Peter retired, he said, "You're it, baby." And if you know Peter, he said it just like that. And he's been my secret little cheerleader. And so 30 years, thank you for, I don't know, loving and accepting me, but also saying yes to all those kids calling for stock, saying yes to going on trips, saying yes to emptying out porta potties on the houseboat trip, saying yes to all the nasty jobs and all the good jobs and all the joy. And David, who did I leave out? Oh yeah, David. Okay. See, you know, the best part about that is David is so stinking funny that I'm not, but now I got to be funny in a moment, didn't I? But the problem is, unlike like Brent and Eric and David, I didn't even know, wasn't trying, but anyway. See, I'm so scared I'll walk off here and go, oh, now they'll feel so bad and I have to call them and I have to fix this. But David, you've been my biggest cheerleader of all. And you have taught me the most about youth ministry. I mean, I've learned a lot from every single adult in youth. I've learned a lot from this congregation. But we came here together. We shared a role. You did the hardest work. I did the people work. And you did the hard work, and you masterminded how we were going to fund this and how we were going to make this baby grow so that it would matter not just in this congregation, but as people left and engaged in the world. But you are my sounding board, and you love me unconditionally. You're the most critical of me as well, but you always have my back. And I wouldn't be standing here if I didn't have your practical, logical. And I hold dear, I've never kept a diary or a whatever of everything that's happened, but it's such a rich life that I think, thank you, God, but why did I get to have this rich life? And so I want to look, literally, all of you, just try to feel like I'm looking in the eye and saying thank you to you individually. Every single one of you matter. And if you ask me to introduce each of you to my family, I'm a little nervous, so I'm sure I'd forget your name. Even the people I know, I've known forever. I know that sounds sort of silly. So thank you. It's been a beautiful, growing, learning, changing me 30 years. And I did start when I was 14, so, you know. Just in case you're trying to add my age up. I am going to be like my grandmother. When she turned 85, I asked her if she felt old, and she said, on the outside, I'm 85, but on the inside, I'm 16. My heart feels like a 16-year-old yet, because I can dance as well as any of these teenagers. Yeah. And I like to have fun, so I love all of you. I praise God and thank God for all of you. I think, you know, in Scripture, just talks about 1 Thessalonians. There's some verse I found once that I used for the youth, and I just said, oh, this is a beautiful verse written to this church about how we're growing in love together. And honestly, if we could spend more time seeing the best in each other and forgetting about our criticisms, we would grow and grow and grow. Help each other be the best we can be. It's so easy to be jealous and petty and mean, and I've been guilty of all of those things. But every time I see the best in somebody and I want to see them succeed, honestly, it's not even just that I'm happier, it's that wow, it infects so many people. So I thank you. And did I forget anything now? No, long enough, right? Cut her off, right? But thank you all for taking time out of your Thanksgiving weekend. I know it's a busy weekend, but I thank you, and I thank God for you, and thank you.
Killed it. I'm going to ask Pastor Simon to come up and bless us out of here. And as he comes, it occurs to me that the council would wish me to say one more thing. I think it's pretty evident the power of God's work in our lives that can happen at a place like Trinity. And it's pretty obvious how it can happen through the specific ministry of our youth ministry as we celebrate it today in Kathy's life. And if we are the light, which I think we can be, if this means anything to us, it wouldn't be a bad time for us to recommit ourselves to the work that we do as members of Trinity in support of all of the ministries that we do here, but in particular the youth team. So as we finish writing out our pledges, feel free to do it or rewrite it. Right, I know, right? It's like, oh yeah, it's like, it seems lame, but it's not. It's real. This is what we do. This is what we do. And the way that we do it is with our lives and the gifts that come in our lives. And when we commit to something like the ministry that we have here for our youth, real things happen. Lives are changed. The ministry expands. We take care of ourselves. We take care of the Central Moorhead community. We take care of our region, and we send pastors and people all over the world to do God's work. So this is real. This is us. So let's be the light. Bless us out of here, man.
All right. Thank you, Eric. I would just add my voice to the chorus of appreciation, Kathy. It's been 5 years, just over 5 years. I have learned a lot from this lady, a tremendous amount indeed, and I appreciate working with you. And thank you very much for the ministry that you've done in the past, and done with me at least, for these past 5 years. It really is a privilege. I also want to thank her family. Professional ministry is tough on families, very, very tough, and Kathy's words really resonate. So thank you very much, because you did have to sacrifice. I know how that works, and sincerely, Trinity Lutheran thanks you for sharing your mother with us for that many years as well. So hear that loud and clear. Thank you also to the youth ministry team. We are very blessed in this congregation by our ministry teams, by the talent throughout, by the eloquence of many people here as well. So I thank God for Trinity today. Thank God for Kathy. And indeed, I'm going to bless you on our way. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. The Lord look upon you with favor and give you peace. Amen. Amen. Go in peace and serve the Lord. Thanks be to God.